Let's talk about the MLS new playoff format.
Can someone explain to us the MLS new playoff format?
No, we'll try our best to explain it, but essentially,
I'm willing to say I'll ban this from the country of Bangola, bro.
Is it Bangola?
Blangola.
Bangola is a different country.
What's happening on the other side of this wall I built, bro?
Okay.
I hear a lot of rubbing.
Major League Soccer was going from obviously the last 3 years.
Remember when it was home and away?
It was home and away
aggregate, and then people were like, "Hey, one of these games is usually kind of boring. Mm-hmm. You should go to single game elimination." And then they did, and it was wild lit.
It was pretty fun, and the last 3 years it's been single game elimination.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been great. You know, it's definitely less games,
right?
But there was something lost, right? There were a couple, you know, we all remember a couple years ago the Montreal-Toronto 2-game series that you know, Montreal was leading in the first one, and then Toronto
we went to
the first one, mm-hmm. and then Toronto won the second one. It was an unbelievable game, but tons of goals.
Didier Drogba was a wild one.
Great game.
But those were few and far between. For the most part, somebody would park the bus, especially, you know.
Well, usually the first game was just like a little bit more cautious, right? But now,
like one game made it lit. So how do you advance on that? Go to a half game. That's right? Is that what we're doing?
Penalty kicks. Just do only penalty kicks.
Yo, just straight pens, walk up, all pressure.
Bro, the game lasts 16 minutes and you're done.
It's Kentucky Derby status, bro.
Everybody wear your big hats.
Yo, here's a hot toddy and get ready for nothing but pens, bro.
So so now this is what the new format is going to be.
Explain it to me, because I looked at Jeff Reuter's tweet, mm-hmm. who I believe tweeted it out first.
Yes.
And it was a very brief explanation, and I am still kind of lost.
So we're going to have the first match in the playoff is going to be a wild card game for the 8th and 9th place. So the 8th place team will play the 9th place team, and that team will get into the final 8 in that conference.
So this was the conversation about the group style, World Cup style playoff format. Remember, this is what they came up with. That was the rumor that was being dropped.
Yeah, that was the initial rumor, and but
so the group stage is technically the first round. The first round is the only round where they play 3, best of 3.
Okay, so yeah, the first round is the best of 3 there, but before that first round, there is that wild card game.
That's a wild card game, single elimination.
Right.
A lot of fun. Okay, that's fun. Then the first round, this is everyone's involved. Everyone who made the playoffs.
Correct.
Now is involved in this, right? You got 1 versus whoever won 8 through 9, 2 versus 7.
1 versus the wild card winner.
Yeah.
2
versus 7, 3 versus 6,
and 4 5.
5 4. They have to play 3 matches, best of 3, no ties.
Right. So they don't have to play 3 matches. It's best of 3.
Best of 3.
So at most they will play 3 matches, but which I'm sort of fine with. My only issue here.
So it's a home and away with a
tiebreaker, the 3rd game.
Wait. Okay. Yeah. As opposed to just doing aggregate.
Right. So because, and this is my issue here, and this is why I don't like it. It is the no draws being allowed in any of the games.
Which is the rules in Bangola, baby. No draws. I hear a lot of rub.
Okay. A lot of commandos out here.
Yeah. The whole place is an army, bro. By these rules.
So that's my biggest issue right there, is the fact that...
Hold on. If we can look at it from, you know, an unbiased perspective, if you're new to soccer, it's kind of lit, right? Like everything has penalties attached to it. If you draw even by the end of 90, I'm assuming there's not going to be extra time. These players are going to be gassed.
I would assume so. I haven't read the full article, so I don't know if that's been a specific detail. this is what I imagine is if there's no draws allowed in the games, then you don't need extra time, right? You just go. You should
go straight to pens.
Just go straight to pens. So essentially, you could realistically have a best of 3 series all go to penalties. 3 games that go to penalties.
If you're an MLS exec and you're an Apple TV exec, you're thinking that's the best case scenario, no?
Right. Yeah. You get the most amount of like just watch time
and the most heightened in each of those.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't. If
you're a fan, is that not kind of exciting? I'm starting to turn around on this thing. Is that not kind of exciting?
Red T in the chat just said too many games. This is a joke.
Is it? Because MLS
my instinct is to be like, this is too many games, but it's not.
MLS plays less games and a shorter season than most leagues.
34 versus 38 in most leagues, yes.
Right,
and it's Bundesliga's 30.
But they have a big gap in the middle, so it's a shortened season, right? Which has always been a knock against MLS. Playoffs have higher ratings than regular season. So if you're smart, you're not going to increase the amount of regular season games. You're going to increase the amount of playoff games. If you're going to increase the amount of playoff games, you could do that by allowing more teams in, which would be ridiculous. We're already at 8, right? So how do you do that? You make each game have the most intensity possible, which is a penalty. I'm completely sold now.
No, my big issue is, look, I think that would be quite a spectacle if you have like I got 3 games and they all go to penalties. But my instinct is to be like, it's not necessarily too many games. I would have been fine with going by aggregate, having the 2 matches aggregate, and for that round, have that, and then the rest, and this is the last part of it, that the conference semis, the conference final, and the MLS Cup final will all be single game elimination. So
you know what?
It's just this round that has this like kind of spin on it.
I think they messed up by saying no draws. There's a joke there. Which means I was invited to Bengola. Which is the problem. Because play this, hear me out. Patronize me here a little bit. If the first 2 matches end in draws and the final 3rd match is heading to a draw, then wouldn't that be the most intense penalties? Because that would be the deciding factor. So would that not have the most implications, the most excitement, the most anticipation?
It would, but don't you think it takes a little bit away from that 3rd game penalties if you just saw 2 other matches also go to penalties?
I'm suggesting what if you allow draws? So the third game was, let's say it was 2-2, 1-1, last match, 1-1, going into penalties. That's for everything now. And this is round 1.
Yeah.
Would that not have been better than no draws?
I think it would have been better than no. Yeah, I think that's better. But it's also less.
So why make the decision? I can get in the head of Don Garber, right? Here's me holding a cigar. Right?
Say Tali just said All-Star Skills Challenge for the 3rd game.
yeah. Buddy, you didn't get the ball in enough buckets. The Minnesota United is out, dude. What is the reason behind the no draws? Because if you have a 3rd game,
so that's my issue with it, is that it feels.
No, but why? Why? Think about why.
It feels like they're demonizing the draw. Like Americans they hate draws and like because
well, no, because NFL points don't matter,
and a lot of other fans of other sports make this complaint all the time. They say soccer's low scoring, ends in a draw. Americans don't like that.
NFL can end in a tie,
but we've seen but look, it is very rare. But we've seen so many. Like comics do this same bit over and over, like it ends in a draw. That's not American. They need to kill each other after or something, right? Yeah. So
one of them should be dressed as an eagle.
so that's the. I feel like MLS is bowing down to the people who make that complaint because there's nothing really wrong with draws.
I don't agree because if they did that, they'd be bringing back more of the '90s stuff. Like remember they did I think they did a red card. Not a red card, a flag. Remember then they do flags back in the day?
Like a challenge flag? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. They had flags at one point. They did
in MLS?
Remember they had the clock going the other way?
And they had
which Old Trafford does,
old MLS penalties. But they tried a bunch of things.
What I'm saying is there's got to be a reason for the no draws, a strategic reason. And we're not figuring it out. And it's really upsetting me.
I don't know what it is exactly. Look,
because it makes sense that you could have draws and then you get guaranteed a third game. By virtue of there being a draw, the first one, you increase the opportunity for a third game to happen. You don't now. So maybe that was an argument against that the players were like, dude, this would be too many games. Because after this, it goes back to single game elimination.
Yeah.
Which is wild exciting.
Yeah. I don't get it. I mean, look, if I was in a room kind of negotiating what the playoffs would look like, I would be fine with this.
I would throwing stuff off the table.
I would make this concession, except for I would allow draws. That would be my main thing.
I get that.
The thing I would really push for is to go for 2 games and just go by aggregate. That is, to me, feels like you get a home.
No, we've already seen that fail. We've seen that fail.
Fail?
Teams, yes, teams. It's been boring.
Champions League does it.
It's a different.
What?
What's
Yeah,
the right
it's
word?
the same format. It works.
It's the same format, but it's different implications because you're going country to country. Some teams only can park the bus, but you have like some real super teams that are involved in Champions League. So
you would want to get rid of the aggregate in Champions League too?
No, because it's not a safe bet to park the bus in Champions League. It's a safe bet in MLS. There's enough parity where you can negate the other team's superpower, if you will, by parking the bus.
Oh, okay, I don't agree, but
We've
fine.
seen these games be boring, so much so that you and I, on this very show, called for single game elimination, and now you want to bring that back?
No, I'm saying if I had to look, if we were in a room negotiating all this stuff, and somebody saying, "Well, I want 3 games, I want no draws," I would have to concede something. I would have to say, "Oh, I want this, but I'm willing to get rid of this."
We know people complained about and was boring, and it was boring.
Look, and we're gonna see in these best of 3. There's no guarantee that it's gonna be entertaining either. So
no, but and this is why I'm trying to figure out why would they move away from no draw? Why would they suggest no draws and move away from the potential of a draw? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Could it just be that they want like the intensity of penalty kicks? Like they just want penalty kicks at the end of every game to make it more exciting?
Yeah, which is a point I said earlier. I mean, maybe.
I would say overall,
it just seems like you're taking away the opportunity for there to be like one really intense.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you still get that.
It seems like the most important thing about these playoffs is to have more games. And that is, to me, that is why you get rid of the draws. But
then you get more games with draws.
Okay. I mean, it
increases the likelihood of there being more games.
Sure,
because somebody wins.
But I'm saying, I understand. But what they're saying is like it can't end in a draw. There has to be a result. There's going to be 3 games regardless. It's just the fact of seeing the same score to them it appears like that is a negative look on the league.
I think you're making the leap that you're assuming that they're trying to Americanize it because they're afraid of that. I don't see it that way because Apple TV is for everybody. Mm-hmm. It's not just for us. So there's really no benefit. I don't think now I'm going back against the previous comment. I'm flip-flopping here, folks. But I don't think they stand to gain anything by trying to appease fans of fans of other American sports who are like, get away from these draws. I don't think you stand to gain anything. Because now the whole world has Apple TV Plus. Timing-wise, it's not really built for the rest of the world to watch it. But if you're in Europe and you want to see the games, you're not going to be like, hey, I can't believe there's damn draws because that guy's not in Europe. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. I mean, it's regardless. I think we're both saying the same thing about wanting to have that third game, whether you get there with a determined winner or loser.
Not really. I'm just trying to figure out what was the decision-making behind no draws.
I mean, we have to get somebody from MLS. Maybe they can help us with it.
I thought maybe between the 3 of us.
Have Don Garber call in. We all have our theories. I mean, we're never going to get the answer.
I just want to talk to Donnie. Gee, hold on a second. Oye, ma, mira, se llama Tuesdays. Es un sandwich.